the Brainiac Corporation. And another day begins. From all over the country, a crack team of the finest minds arrive at their base.
Hello.
Their mission, to continue to push back the boundaries of scientific knowledge and understanding. So come on in, step inside with us. But prepare yourself for a bumpy ride as we embark on the worst excesses that are Brainiac Science Abuse.
Brainiac.
Welcome to Brainiac, the show that says honk if you love science. The big science tonight. We go off our trolley trying to break the speed limit. Jon Tickle gets down and dirty.
Don't you just love science?
Can enough monkeys really write Shakespeare? And bling, bling, bang, it's Brainiac Darts. But first... Stop! The following experiment is dangerous. Do not try this at home. No, really, don't. This is a crab, a dead one. Soft, pulpy flesh sealed inside a tough outer casing. The perfect combination for microwave experimentation. The sideways walking crustacean uses its exoskeleton to protect its internal organs at great depths on the ocean floor. Luckily for us, microwave radiation passes straight through the shell, heating the watery innards and building up pressure until... crab paste. The force of the fishy gas escaping is enough to blow off the door, spewing crab juice everywhere. We do these experiments so you don't have to. Do not try this at home. The supermarket trolley. Great for carrying groceries, but guaranteed to bring any shopping trip grinding to a snail's pace.
We've decided to make some improvements. With a little appliance of science, we are going to persuade this humble four-wheeled shopping basket to break the speed limit.
One deserted runway and one trolley.
We are going to send this trolley hurtling down this quarter-of-a-mile strip.
Our mission, to make a shopping trolley break the urban 30-mile-an-hour speed limit.
All we have to do now is suitably modify it.
The first method of propulsion we're trying is a giant slingshot. Invented by the ancient Greeks to launch rocks in battle, could one fire our shopping trolley faster than 30 miles an hour? For some serious tension, we're using our van as a winch to draw the elastic back as far as we dare.
But if you've ever been flicked with a rubber band, you'll understand why I'm getting out of the way for this one. Good luck!
Impressive acceleration, but it suffers from the Achilles heel of trolleys everywhere. A downright dislike of going in a straight line for more than 2 feet.
Come on then, let's have a look. What did we do? We did, 15. That's sort of barely half what we need. That's not good enough. We're going to have to think of something different. That really didn't go as well as I'd hoped.
OK, the elastic band was a spectacular failure, but we're not giving up. We're confident we have a surefire way of making this trolley break the speed limit.
All we need is one of these, a trolley with a bit of metal in the front. Oh yeah, and one of those.
Power will be supplied to the trolley using the jet of water from a fireman's hose. The pressure in these things can pump out a gallon of water every second.
OK, here we go. Hoses at the ready, lads, and fire at will. It's moving. It's off. It is moving. Come on. OK, that was a failure. It's not the theory is sound. The problem is that in order for it to work, we have to coordinate the two streams, and Brainiacs don't really do coordination. So that's not going to work. However, we have one more means of propulsion to try.
Oh yes, we're strapping 40 rockets to the trolley's frame. When ignited, they will propel a mass of fast-moving gas backwards, which should push our four-wheeled missile forwards.
When the space shuttle takes off, its main rocket boosters generate in excess of 3 million kilograms of thrust. Now, we've made some quick calculations, and we reckon we're going to need about 3. Just 3. 3 kilograms of thrust should do it. No problem.
As the final 3 rockets are attached, I've every confidence that this is the machine to break the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. With all 40 rockets wired to one switch, it can't fail.
Right, here we go. This is it. If we're ready, 3, 2, 1, lift off. Well, there was a lot of noise. I don't know the speed's going to be that good, and the key problem here is it didn't make it to the end. It's also made quite a mess.
Well, your groceries would have been cooked before you got home, but the thrust should have been just enough. So what speed did the trolley reach before it exploded?
Show me, what we got? Right. Well, it's the best we've done. 17 miles an hour. So, of the means of propulsion we tried, that was the most successful. In fact, we failed. But hey, part of being a good scientist is never be afraid to admit when you're wrong. And this time, we were. Still, there is a conclusion to be drawn, and it is that the shopping trolley is officially the most pathetic form of transport known to man. That's rubbish.
Things that make you go.
Here's one for you. If you get lost whilst driving, how come you turn the radio down?
Things that make you go.
Things that make you go.
Deep in the basement at Brainiac HQ, the world of celebrity has been competing in a contest conceived to answer one of science's burning questions. Which celebrity can take the biggest electric shock? Next competitor to take on the chair is the nation's favourite air stewardess, Jeremy Spake. As soon as Jeremy acquaints himself with the chair, he's handed a safe phrase to shout when he can't take any more. For Jeremy, it's the phrase recently voted cabin crew's favourite safety demonstration line. Next, the assistants step in to make last-minute medical checks. They make the celebrities feel safe, but really it's just a chance for the Brainiacs to touch a vaguely famous person. 36-year-old Jeremy is 6 foot tall and 15 stone. His hobbies are travelling and flying to new places, which is lucky, really. He loves big cats but hates snakes, and his favourite electrical appliance is the dishwasher. The Brainiac electric chair has 6 shock settings, from remote control soft to taser gun intense. So, how much can Spake take? A larger-than-life character, Jeremy has good insulation to help him cope with the shocks, and he taxis through level 1. Some painful-looking twitches on level 2, but so far, Jeremy's showing impressive levels of resistance. Jeremy claims he always knew he'd work in the travel industry. He says it was in his genes, but he didn't dare tell his parents until his 16th birthday. Apparently, they always hoped he'd work in fashion. Things looking less comfortable on level 3, but still barely a flicker from tough guy Jeremy.
You're mad. Those ones are not necessary. I think my life jacket under my seat.
Clearly, the shocks have short-circuited Jeremy's brain, so we'll have to accept his mispronounced safe phrase. And that sloppy landing just adds to a poor performance, and Jeremy's left flying low on our leaderboard. Next week, we'll be frying the most famous hands in weather forecasting, Sean Lloyd.
thing's what my body does.
My name's Steve, and the thing what my body does is this.
Your tongue contains 4 pairs of muscles to alter its shape, helpful for talking and swallowing, but for the special few, enabling them to do disgusting things like this. If you've got a body that does something unusual, then write to us at info@brainiac.co.uk and we'll share it with the world. All in the name of science, of course.
What is Britain's best DIY sneeze?
Down at the lab, we want to know which household item is the best at making you sneeze. Fresh cut grass, enemy of hay fever sufferers everywhere. The dust from a vacuum cleaner. Pepper, but is it as good as they say? A bottle of very cheap perfume, £2 a litre. Pet fur from our Brainiac cat, Stephen. And our wild card, very bright lights. Whichever produces the most sneezes wins.
Start sniffing.
Sneezing, or sternutation, is the body's way of protecting itself against tiny tickling particles that get inside the nose. But it's not just small particles that can set the snot flying. Bright lights can cause photic sneezing. Stimulation of the optic nerve triggers the nasolacinal duct, causing the sneeze reflex. The condition only affects 1 in 4 people, but will this Brainiac be one of them? And first to sneeze is vacuum dust Brainiac. All those human skin cells and carpet mites have really got up his nose. And there goes fresh cut grass boy. Snot is fired out at 100 miles an hour and the spray can travel up to 3 metres, making it a very effective way of spreading germs. The average Briton sneezes 26,000 times in their lifetime, and these guys are certainly doing their bit. Pepper is a pyridine alkaloid containing the chemical piperine, which is especially unpleasant to the nerve endings inside the mucous membrane. Bless you. As far as perfume goes, it's the chemical ethanol that triggers the sneeze. And in grass, it's normally the pollen that sets off the allergic reaction. No allergic reaction from Catwoman. She hasn't sneezed once. Though she seems to have fur balls. Amazingly, it looks like Lampshade Boy is a photic sneezer, the bright light getting too much for his nose. Weirdo. After 20 minutes, our sneezing stimulants are actually working pretty well. But which is the best?
Okay, that's it. The best sneeze maker is vacuum cleaner dust.
It's official. The best way to make someone sneeze is a good handful of vacuum dust. Will it glow or will it blow? The weekly chemistry conundrum as posed by Dr. Jon P. Kilcoyne, Principal Lecturer at the University of Sunderland. So, what chemicals does Dr. Kilcoyne have in the shed today?
Ethanol, chromium oxide. Will it glow or will it blow?
The answer coming up after the break. Also to come, our Brainiac for a day lets one off. Food sell-by days, do they really matter? Oh. And a monkey on a typewriter.
This is Brainiac, the science show that gets your girlfriend drunk and snogs her.
Still to come, what not to leave in the back of your fridge. Answer it yourself in I Can Do Science Me.
Why can't you do this at home?
And another movie legend gets the Brainiac star treatment. But first... Before the break, Dr. Jon P. Kilcoyne of the University of Sunderland posed the question chromium oxide and ethanol. Put them together and will they glow or blow? The answer? Blow. Chromium oxide is a strong oxidizer and when brought into contact with flammable ethanol vapour, spontaneously causes it to burn.
What a great blow.
Nice one, Doc.
Yes, once again, it's Brainiac for a day. With your hosts, Dolly Girl and Dolly Boy. Each week, one lucky viewer gets to put on the famous yellow T-shirt and spend an explosive, thrill-packed day as a Brainiac. And this week's Brainiac groupie is Jeremy Woodford, a 47-year-old JCB operator from Dorset. Welcome to the show, Jeremy. Whoa, I said the show, not the presenters. Now, tell us what it is you're blowing up today.
A JCB inner tube.
What a crazy guy you are. Driving a large JCB earth mover for a living, Jeremy knows all about this inner tube, especially as his boss won't put a high-pressure hose on site. Jeremy has to pump up his tyres with a foot pump, and he's shattered. But before he can blow up anything, Jeremy has to step through the magic Brainiac door and transform from JCB driver Jeremy into Brainiac Jeremy. Now it's crunch time for our Brainiac for a day. Each of these envelopes contains a different explosive. Which one will Jeremy choose? He's gone for C, so let's see what he's got. It's compressed gas! What a surprise! Well done, Jeremy. That'll make life easy. No time to feel smug, because there's the siren. The signal for Jeremy and the presenters to retreat to a moderately safe distance. While our explosives expert steps in to attach the gas cylinder to the Schrader valve. The gas we're using today is nitrogen. It's lighter than air, so can be stored under much higher pressure. But it's totally inert, so no need to panic. Don't forget, it could be you joining us here on the Brainiac for a Day set. Just write to us at info@brainiac.co.uk telling us what you'd like to blow up and why. But today, it's all about Jeremy. And as always on Brainiac for a Day, it's safety first, Brainiac second! Quiet, please, as Jeremy prepares to turn up the pressure. That one kept us guessing, but when it went, boy, did it went! No explosive today, but still a great explosion. The inner tube expands to 3 times its usual size before the rubber reaches its tensile limit. Then, kapow! A gas and latex blowout! We've even added a firework to make it look pretty. Well done, Jeremy. That was fun.
Thanks, Brainiac, for making me Brainiac for a day.
Yes, no bother. Now off you go. Those holes won't dig themselves. Oh, and Jeremy, nice spare tire, mate.
Hello, my name's Paul Barrell, and you're watching Brainiac.
One monkey. 50 million years of evolution has produced this monkey and his Brainiac friends.
Legend has it an infinite number of monkeys tapping on an infinite number of typewriters could churn out the complete works of Shakespeare. To see if this is true, these monkeys will spend the next 8 hours typing at random.
After which we'll see if they've written anything intelligible, anything Shakespeare, or any intelligible Shakespeare.
We'll count up the words, do some maths, and see just how long it would really take.
Now, I doubt very much that any of the Brainiacs can touch types, so blindfolds will ensure that it's completely random. The monkey doesn't need one, because English isn't her first language. Right, if everybody's ready, begin typing.
To assist us, we've hired an out-of-work thespian in a stupid outfit to check every page these monkeys type against every play the great bard ever wrote.
The original works were, of course, written in ye olde English-y. But that's no concern to us, because none of our monkeys can spell either.
With 80 keys to choose from, the chance of getting the first letter right is about 80 to 1, and getting 2 letters right is 1 in 80 times 80. That's 6,400 to 1.
Each letter increases the odds 80 times, which means the odds of getting 10 letters right is 10 million to 1. Right, let's see how you're doing. This might take some time, so we'll get back to you later in the show and we'll see how they're doing. Carry on.
This frame contains 5 layers of catering-grade aluminium foil. With a gauge of just 15 microns, this material is surprisingly strong for its thickness. It also provides an excellent barrier to air, light and microorganisms. This Brainiac is about to run full speed towards the foil. But will he break through or bounce off? It's a breakthrough! The Brainiac's momentum was easily enough to tear through the metallic structure of 5 layers of aluminium foil. And to spectacular effect. 5 layers of aluminium foil, something you can run through.
I can do science, me.
It's the I Can Do Science Me Open Auditions, where you get to answer your own big science questions under the ever-enthusiastic eye of Charlotte Hudson. If you've got a question, write to us at info@brainiac.co.uk, and you too can have your moment in the science spotlight.
Today, number
71.
Dan Beadle from Sidcup. Great show, whatever. Charlotte's impressive. Okay. Could you turn your bath at home into a flotation tank? Why can't you do this at home? Why can't you do this at home? Go on, then.
This is the science you want done. We just give you the tools for the job. Dan's bath. No, really, it is his bath. It took nearly 3 hours to prize it out. And some water. No fancy stuff, straight from the tap. Your posh spa might use pure melted mountain snow, but that's so mugs like you will pay £50 to sit around in it. We're only charging Dan 12 quid. To simulate the average bath time, we'll be using 80 litres of water. Lucky for Dan, it's easier to dissolve salt in warm water. So we've boiled up the kettle to raise the temperature a bit. Not too much, though. We don't want him hanging around. Before you conduct an experiment, you need to check what happens under normal conditions. It's called the control. In this case, when Dan sits in the bath without salt. Guess what? Doesn't float. Now we can put in the salt. The salt dissolved in a flotation tank is usually Epsom salt, but it's expensive. So we're using regular salt from the local cash and carry. Archimedes was the fella that worked out all this floating and buoyancy stuff. Apparently, we only float when our body weight is less than the weight of the water being displaced. Increasing salinity, or dissolving salt in water, gives it more density, making it easier for us to float. Eureka! That's 12 kilograms of salt dissolved into 80 litres of water. Is it enough to make Dan float? He's obviously top-heavy, being too tall to lie down, but those legs are definitely floating freely. So all he has to do is splash out on a bigger bath, and he'll be fine. Time to pull the plug on Dan's little experiment.
His name is Dan Beadle. He wanted to know if he could turn his bath into a flotation tank. The answer? Yeah. Next!
I can do science, mate.
Yet again, Brainiac has gone knocking at the door of fame and fortune in the hope that any international megastars might fancy coming out to blow something up. This week's actor is a cinema legend known for method acting and violent characters. But this is no Bronx Tale, just him and his taxi driver travelling the mean streets of Hertfordshire. The awaiting fans won't be disappointed, but which Hollywood superstar are they about to greet? Yes, he's one of the greatest screen actors of all time, and a real good fella too. It's Robert De Niro. De Niro's love of science goes back to 1978 and the set of The Deer Hunter, where to lighten the mood, he and Christopher Walken would recite the Krebs cycle for energy production in living cells. As the crowd falls silent, there's just time for Robert to get into character before he blows up this car. Another explosive performance from Mr. De Niro. Talent like that is untouchable. He's the godfather of automotive destruction. That's 'cause he knows the score when it comes to blowing up cars. And as that 1992 Rover 200 goes up, you can almost feel the heat. Movie stars exploding cars. Thanks, Bobby. You did us proud. Dr. Bunhead's back on the road in his trusty old banger. So, take cover, because science's biggest loser is still trying to flog his half-baked experiments to the unsuspecting public.
Hello. All right, don't go. What's your name?
Ahmed.
Ahmed, hi. I'm Dr. Bunhead. Hello. I just need some money because my car's broken down. Just have a seat. Well, don't have a seat, just have a stand. I bet you can't get that bottom coin out of the stack and you're only allowed to touch the top coin. If you can't, you give me a lift.
Okay.
See, it's quite hard, isn't it? It's a little bit of Newtonian mechanics. You were on the right lines. Really, what you need is a much greater momentum transfer from this one, which means it needs a larger velocity and... Oh! All right, no, hang on, no, you don't go. Give me another chance. How about 6 dice? I know they got letters on, but they're still dice. And what I want you to do is get this 2-pence piece from out of this stack of dice, and all you are allowed to use is a pen. And if you fail, give me a lift.
Okay.
Thank you, there you go. I can see you're a thinking man. A scientific brain there. You don't want to be wobbling that table either, I don't reckon. Now, would you agree that if I can do this, give me the lift?
Let's see you do it.
All right, okay, I'll show you it first. All right, here we go.
I've had much practice.
I've worked it all out on paper. So the trick is I'm using a retractable pen and I'm going to deliver the momentum from here and...
Oh, yeah.
Yes!
Yeah.
Are you impressed? Because I am. Here's a lift.
Well, you see, that's the thing, I'm late for the hospital.
Late, but you said you'd give me a lift.
My wife is pregnant.
Your wife's pregnant?
Yeah, I've got to go.
You've got a ring. Oh, come on. Just at least give us a lift to the next services. You haven't even got a wife in there. What's he talking about?
Born to be wild. Born to be
Come in. Stand over there for me. Right, Mr. Tickle. What can we do for you today?
Nurse, I'm bored. Can you tell me something interesting I can do with my body?
Certainly. Try this. Try to keep your eyes open while I carry out a test.
Okay.
No blinking.
Blinking at a loud noise is one of the human body's reflex actions, automatic movements built in to protect you from potential danger. The blink reflex happens in less than 1/10 of a second.
No, I can't do that, nurse. How interesting. Thanks very much. That'll keep me going for hours.
Not at all. Goodbye, Mr. Tickle.
Bye-bye.
Picture this. You open the fridge and there's a terrible smell. You have a rummage around and you find a month-old piece of cheese that's harder than a gangster rapper and comes with its own fur coat. Now, most people would throw it away. But if you're a brainiac, you give it a good long sniff and you ask yourself, which is the worst food to leave lying around in your fridge? A few weeks ago, the Brainiacs brought a bunch of foods to a warehouse on the outskirts of Brainiac HQ. And to keep things simple, they split the foods into 3 categories and allocated a separate fridge to each. In the first fridge, vegetables, a plate of salad, Brussels sprouts, a bunch of bananas and 2 bottles of OJ. Number 2 was the meat fridge, a whole chicken, a plate of pork bangers and bacon, and the Brainiac's favourite processed spicy salami snack. The third and final fridge was dairy, with milk, 2 pots of biological yoghurt full of friendly bacteria, stinky Stilton, and a plate of processed cheese. Fridges filled, all that was left to do was seal off the location to ward off hungry Brainiacs tempted in by the smell and leave to ferment. Now, 3 months later, the Brainiacs are ready to conduct their first test to see which food groups rotted into the most fetid, manky mess. First to be loaded, vegetable fridge is also the first to be opened and its contents assessed. And that leafy green salad doesn't look too leafy anymore. It's now a soggy green mush, almost completely covered in a white fluffy mould. And mould has grown all over the bananas and Brussels sprouts as well. Because it's a type of fungi, mould grows by feeding on the water and nutrients in the food, and taking those out of a food makes it turn bad. So visible mould is almost nature's way of saying, don't eat me, you'll die. However, the OJ has got away mould-free. Not that I'd recommend drinking it. Onto the meat fridge, and straight away it's clear even the local fried chicken joint wouldn't touch that. Pork naturally has the highest bacterial count of any meat, so no surprise the bangers and bacon now look like a month-old dog turd. But the processed salami snack, no name, no lawsuit, has survived relatively intact, clearly all the preservatives doing their job. Finally, the dairy fridge. The milk has begun morphing into mozzarella by itself, while the processed cheese that kids will do anything for has grown so much mould it might have a pulse. But most impressive is the bio-yogurt. Those friendly bacteria have excelled themselves, forming some beautifully sculpted bacterial art. So, all 3 fridges look pretty disgusting. To reach a conclusion, we're going to need to know which one smells worst. For this, we'll need a volunteer, complete with sick bucket. We'll see by his reaction how rank the smell from each fridge is. Veg first. And our stench judge looks surprisingly unmoved, able to suck down a lungful of air that doesn't even catch in the back of the throat. The smell of rotting vegetation clearly not too offensive. Rotting flesh, on the other hand. Yes, a definite reaction, a narrowing of the eyes and the head thrown back by the wall of stink emitted by the decaying meat. Brainiac doing well not to blow chunks there. Finally, the dairy fridge. And Brainiac unable to breathe in for more than a fraction of a second before it catches in his throat, causing a gag reflex. In fact, it's so smelly, our judge has to retreat back 5 yards. An almost knockout blow landed by the decomposing dairy. So there you have it. The worst food to leave lying around in your fridge, definitely dairy. Professor Myang Lee, bringing glamour as well as brains to the world of Brainiac. The prof's been keeping busy turning household items into mush with her favourite flamethrower. But can you guess what object she's flame grilling this week? It's hot, sweaty work, but that won't stop Professor Myang Lee. She doesn't mind getting her hands dirty in the name of science. Well done, Prof. What a lovely mess you've made.
Another great spectacle, but can you work out what this syrupy blob was before its Myang Lee roasting? We'll give you the heads up after the break. Also to come, can you blow up a balloon underwater? More monkey business.
This really could take forever.
And sit back and relax as another caravan takes a permanent holiday.
This is Brainiac, the science show that plays poo sticks with your grand's best china.
Still to come, Jon Tickle gets lubed up, a deep question answered in under 47 seconds, and Caravan Pro-Am Darts reaches round 6. But first, before the break, we saw Professor Myang Lee let loose with her favourite toy, turning an everyday household item into this melted mess. But what was it before the prof gave it a good seeing to? So there you have it, a polystyrene head wearing a wig and sunglasses. Nice one, Prof. You're hot stuff. 47 seconds science. Big science questions answered in bite-sized chunks. Can you blow up a balloon underwater? It takes a fair bit of huff to inflate a balloon above the surface. But it's a lot tougher with your face in the wet stuff. Water weighs a lot more than air, so beneath the surface, the weight pressing on the balloon is increased, and you need a lot more puff to inflate. But it's not enough to stop the Brainiac. He's got the lung power to get the job done. Still, there's time for a stiffer test. Straight in at the deep end. The deeper you drop, the more the pressure increases. There's more water above you, getting heavier and heavier the lower you go. With 5 feet of water weighing down on the balloon, it's clear the Brainiac hasn't a hope of getting it to inflate. So, can you blow up a balloon underwater? Yes, if you stick to the shallow end. 47 seconds science. Big science questions answered in bite-sized chunks.
Dear John, my girlfriend likes me to help out around the flat, scrubbing the dishes, cleaning windows, and hand-washing her smalls. Trouble is, when my fingers get wet, they go all wrinkly. Why is that? And is it possible to stop it happening? Well, Ian from Moseley, chores and wrinkly fingers aren't things that I'm overly familiar with at the Tickle Love Shack. But you need help, and I'm happy to oblige. The thing is, chores are too much like hard work. So I'm using another method to get my digits wrinkly.
Don't you just love science?
You can't see it, but your body is covered in an oily coating called sebum that makes skin impermeable to liquid.
Like a waterproof wax jacket, it stops you absorbing water like a sponge. And it also stops you drying out in the sun like an old leather handbag. For washing. After about 20 minutes soaking in the tub, most of my body is, well, completely free of wrinkles. Apart from, that is, the tips of my fingers and toes. So they're obviously not covered in sebum.
But there's more. The skin on fingers and toes is special. There's a tiny gap between the 2 outermost layers, which can actually fill up with water,
making them look wrinkly.
But if I oiled my fingers and toes up the same as my body, would it stop them wrinkling? I've arranged for a variety of lubricants to be spread over my extremities.
All that's needed now is a good long marinade.
Vegetable oil is sometimes used to treat wooden fences against bad weather, but will a good greasing protect my fingers from the elements? Lard, that's pig fat, is, horribly, often an ingredient in soap. Not only difficult for brainiacs to spell, margarine is rich in vitamin A, which is vital for skin cell production. And olive oil contains antioxidants called polyphenols that detox the skin.
And like potato chips, my digits have soaked up the oils very nicely.
But have any of the fats formed an oily barrier that will stop my fingers and toes shrivelling up like prunes?
Well, I've been sat in this bath now for 20 minutes, and normally my fingers and toes would be all wrinkly.
But I can conclusively report that the best oil for preventing wrinkles is lard. So there you go, Ian in Moseley. If your fingers wrinkling bothers you that much, give them a daily coating of lard.
Gross.
Thursday, 1898. Have lately brought my pyrotechnical studies to a curious lump of lime which I'd found in my shoe, causing me to limp. I set fire to my gas jet gizmo and directed it onto the stove. What truly knocked my stockings off was the quantity of light, far more than red-hot glowing alone, as if the light of 1,000,000 pixies were trapped. The wondrous illumination bedazzled me. I fancy this limelight may be of interest at my local music hall. Brilliant! Truly was Brainiac Scientifica et Musica.
According to French mathematician Emile Borel, an infinite number of monkeys tapping away at an infinite number of typewriters will eventually turn out the complete works of Shakespeare.
To see if it's true, these monkeys are tip-tapping random letters for 8 hours, the results of which will prove if it's possible.
So, how are we doing? Let's have a look. Not at all well. What about everyone else? How are we doing? No, it's not going that well yet. Carry on.
4 hours in, and all we have is pages upon pages of meaningless drivel. But then, a breakthrough.
Really?
Alas.
Alas, that's a word. And it's in this is Julius Caesar, Act 1, Scene 2, line 271. A word! We've got one word. This really could take forever, couldn't it? Carry on.
Typing at random will eventually produce some 6 jillion letter combination that will end up being the collected works of Shakespeare.
An easier way to explain this is imagine you're filthy, stinking rich and you buy yourself a jillion lottery tickets with every possible combination of numbers. You're guaranteed to win. This is a similar concept, except with monkeys typing.
That is, assuming our chimps really are typing at random and aren't banging repeatedly on the same keys.
Right, so how many words have we got?
5.
5. Well, based on 5 words per day, we've worked out that it would take an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters 276 billion years to crank out the entire works of Shakespeare. So it is possible. You just need a lot of bananas. Carry on. Good work.
Things that make you go.
Here's one for you. What was the best thing before sliced bread?
Things that make you go.
For the latest round of Brainiac Darts. The crowd are going wild for one of the most successful darts chuckers of all time, Bobby Glitter George. But he's up against a crafty opponent.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bobby to throw first. Game on.
So here we are again. Bobby George, psyched up to the gills and ready for action.
108!
As regular viewers know, the Darts Handbook has been slightly amended so that each week a different caravan can be destroyed by a unique chemical compound. We're priming this one with Torpex, an explosive used in World War II torpedoes. The caravan is wired by a pressure-sensitive fuse to double top on our regulation dartboard. When hit, it sets off the fuse wire, which races to the caravan, setting off an almighty banger-rama.
Okay, Bobby, you require 125.
Let's rejoin the action. Bobby needs the outer bow, treble 20, and double top for the match. But something is getting in his eyes. The only way Brainiac can put on a dazzling show is to flash his jewellery. But there's the 25 no bother. Brainiac's doing all he can to distract Bobby. Mind you, with all that glitter and glare coming off Bobby's shiny bling, I don't know why the lad's bothering. Treble 20 needed next. Yes, he's got it. Just double top required for the match. The pressure's really on. Bobby's doing everything he can to stop being dazzled. We're just one dart away, remember, from a fiery Torpex explosion.
Yes! Game shot! On the match!
And straight away, off goes the fuse wire. Just a matter of seconds before it fires up the Torpex. Legging it away from the impending fireball is top of the agenda now. Because when that fuse reaches our explosive, this shabby mobile home will be redecorated in flame yellow. There she blows. Bobby basks in the glory of another fine victory. A chemical cocktail of RDX, TNT and aluminium, Torpex was originally developed for Second World War submarines, reducing battleships to sinking wrecks in seconds. What a lovely big bang! Bobby George 6, Brainiac and Caravans, 0.